So you
He
might
was just
find,
unfortunate.
if we dig deep, we will find that Makandiwa has dead bodies. We will find that Suleiman has dead bodies.
Jeremiah has dead bodies.
Jeremiah has dead bodies.
Iginla
has dead bodies.
Okafo
has dead bodies.
TB Joshua
has dead bodies.
Magaya
has dead bodies.
All of them they do.
All of them they do. But it's the scale in which they are doing it. This Mackenzie guy has done something that was just like right in our faces. We could not see it.
So he was just reckless enough to be caught.
Right there, it's just there. We cannot not see it. It's just there. It's too obvious. These bodies, the body count was too much.
Greetings, my people. It's Mr. PDT and Mr. P back again on the Enlightenment series. You know, he just dropped in today. I know so many people had missed him already, and so many people were asking, when is Brilliant coming back? Now that he's back, he's also not here for a long time, but I'll try by all means to capitalize on his presence, and I'll try by all means to extract as many episodes as I possibly can. So I just want to do a quick catch up, you know, so that I can also pick his brain on some other things that we have spoken about, especially the case of Mackenzie, the Kenyan pastor, who sacrificed, you know, who forced his members to go on a fasting until they die so that they can meet Jesus Christ. You see, there's more to that. It's not just about the brainwash, but there is something that is deep, that is behind that entire, you know, cult of Mackenzie. There is so much that is behind that I would expect Mr. P here to expurgate and to explain in detail, so that, you know, if we address these things from different angles, it might help some of you who might not have understood it from my perspective. Because this issue of cults is the main thing in African churches. 99% of prophetic ministries in Africa, they're all cults. They all have some rituals, some dark rituals that they practice behind the scenes. And to those ones that are just members, they're oblivious of what is really happening behind the curtains. They go there, they receive oils. They don't know where those oils were consecrated. They do not know the spirit that was used or to utter whatever that you call blessings upon those oils. We've seen you people wearing wristbands. You do not know what has been done to those wristbands. So when it gets to a point whereby people now don't function normally, people don't reason, you'll be asking yourself a question: how did these people get here? As much as we expose their spiritual fathers, you still find them stuck in those shrines. They can't move, they can't do anything. But what you do not know is they've been indoctrinated, they've been induced into these cults without them knowing. So Mr. P, Mr. Brilliant, thank you again for coming back to the Enlightenment series.
Thank you for having me. And, you know, it's very interesting that you are talking about cults. Because a number of times when people hear the word cult, they think of a very scary looking and place that when you just look at it, you just see it's written, "Welcome to the cult."
Welcome to the cult, yeah.
But the cults that are being run, you know, they're being run not as cults per se.
Okay.
They're being run as churches, but they're being run by members of certain cults.
Okay.
So they don't come to you saying, "We are part of a cult." They come to you and form a church, and you say, "Come to church, come to this church." But that leader of that church is a member of a cult. So Mackenzie, in this case, this is Paul Mackenzie, the guy in Kenya.
Yeah.
People would look at him and think he was a pastor. He has a church. The members of that church do not know that, some of them may not know, or still not know now, that he's a member of a certain cult. Because by nature, cults are secretive.
Okay.
So when you open up a church that is open to the public, it's no longer a cult per
viewed
se.
as a cult.
Yes. But you, the leader, may be going somewhere secretive that is not known to these members.
You'll be submitting to some god
Somewhere
in your
else.
privacy.
So this is what happens, because when people say, they say everything is open in our church, but do you know where your pastor spends his night? Do you know where your pastor spends his evenings? Do you know which jungles is going to pray in when they say they are going this prayer retreats,
Prayer retreats and stuff.
and they're just going on a break. Where do they go? So you might find that midnight, certain times, this time, they are not available. Where are they? So when this happens, a lot of people know now that there were a number of bodies that have been found at this guy's church.
They're saying it's 109 bodies now that have been
they've not gone up. I thought the last
they are
count
still
was
going up.
145 or something.
145. Maybe I'm
Yes.
behind because I've also
So
been. On
if
something.
you look at those things, right? These people that died, they genuinely, this is the sad part, people genuinely believe that they are going to a church with a God that is in heaven and who has a son called Jesus Christ. They genuinely believe that this is what they're doing, and they're doing it for God. Not knowing that they are being manipulated by these certain individuals
who's a member of a
or
cult.
members of certain cults, and their bodies and their spirits are being used to appease
The
those
gods.
certain gods that Mackenzie and likes would be associating themselves with, unbeknown to the members. Now, most of the people that go to that church would have never suspected that you'd do such a thing. They would vouch right now and say he's a good man, even to now. They'll
My
say
brother,
he's a good man.
I'll tell you
He's
something.
being persecuted. He's being persecuted by the devil. He's been persecuted by the government. He's been persecuted by his enemies. They will defend and protect him even today. He is a lawyer.
He does. There is actually, some few elderly women that were actually saved before they died in those fasting, periods that they were given by Mackenzie. Those people were fighting. No, you are disconnecting us from the grace. We are supposed to fast until we meet Jesus Christ. Don't give us food. Don't give us water. You are breaking this fasting procedure. We had almost reached the point where we meet Jesus Christ. Leave our pastor alone. Leave Mackenzie alone. We are doing this for God.
There was a guy that did the same thing called John Jones, I think he was called,
John Jones.
in the 80s or in the 70s. He took a lot of people to Guyana, and he said that they were going to meet God. And then he brewed a concoction of poison, and he gave it to his members to drink, and they drank and died. And those that had not drunk, those that refused to drink, he ordered the people that were there, his guards, to shoot them.
That's what was happening with Mackenzie as well. He had guards that were there to monitor the ones that are fasting. If anyone tries to escape, he will strangle. They will be strangled. Kids were strangled.
So this is the same. This thing is not new. This has been happening over and over and over. The thing is, maybe this has happened and this has been brought to light. But how many of these things are happening at smaller scale in the churches? Because whatever it is, these guys go to, these Mackenzie types, they go to certain places where they are told that the fuel that we need to give you power is human life or human blood. That's why they hunt for it in the ways that they do. That's why they go and command people and sort of hypnotize these people into thinking that they can literally meet Jesus. And the sad part is we know that they say that we get to the other side through death. And this is perhaps a sad thing that this is reality now. People are actually dying, starving themselves to death because of these people. The thing is, we need to understand how to undo this trickery that has been enforced or put into the people's minds. The brainwashing, I had to use the word brainwash. I don't quite like the word brainwash because it's quite a difficult word to sort of break down and understand.
To make people
when
understand.
someone say you're brainwashed, so what is it that you're washing? Are you washing the knowledge out of that person? Or because this is a contamination, in my view. They contaminate your brain with something that holds you, that makes it's an infection of the brain. They infect your brain with something that makes you think that they know and they are the ones that will lead you to God and nobody else. So it's a psychological thing. It's a psychological warfare that they're waging on people, because this is not just dumb people, by the way. You'll find that there are doctors pilots, the air hostesses, anyone can be manipulated. You can have a certain level of education and say, I'm a doctor, I am a lawyer, but the manipulation goes beyond that. This is more spiritual,
especially if it's
academic.
Religious. Yeah, especially in the religious circle. That's why they said, I don't know, the popular wise guy who said religion is opium to the masses.
That was Marx.
It was Marx.
Karl Marx.
How do you get people, my brother, to starve to death? And how do people, okay, like you are saying that it has nothing to do with anyone's academics or anything. Is it spirituality?
It's a spiritual thing. Because
okay, do Africans love God that much?
It's not a love for God per se.
That they can...
It's a void. You see, there's a void. There's a gap. There's a gapping hole that everybody's trying to fill up. So this gapping hole is more spiritual than it is academic. It's more psychological than it is physical. So people think, I have a lack for something. There's something that I'm looking for. They are looking for that fulfillment. But to fill that gap, that hole that is there, that is a spiritual thing now. That you then find someone that says, I can help you do that. And they make you feel good about it. And they make you feel that now I have connected. Now I find, because as Africans, we've lost our identity. We don't really know who we are, most of us, because maybe of colonialization, maybe because of the educational system that is there, that has told us that who we were was wrong. And now we need to be someone else that they have told us to be. And so you find that this is an argument that has been persisting and an argument that has been going on and on forever. That anytime we try to find enlightenment, we're talking about here in this program that this is an enlightenment series. Anything to do with an enlightenment, enlightening anyone in any sphere of physics, science, everything else, they're all in certain languages. But when it comes to religion, you'd find that in every language you'd have the Bible. In every language you'd have the Quran. In every language, almost, you'd have all these books that are the major religions. And we as Africans have had to learn this in that language first, and then get it translated to our language. Anything else that enlightens us, that teaches us to think critical thinking,
business books, leadership books, none of them are translated.
They're not translated. So we are limited as in how to reason and how to be critical in our thinking. That we are just given something and told, if you fast for 25 days, you will see Jesus.
In this case, they are even saying, don't fast for any days, fast until you die.
And then you
until your last breath.
So we are told,
and you'll meet Jesus Christ.
And it could be also on our part, poverty is driving people to these levels. Because
poverty. Do you think it's poverty?
Yes.
There's an air hostess there amongst those people that died. But I don't think she was suffering.
It's not that she's suffering, but she has seen suffering and she's afraid of suffering. Because what poverty does, poverty is a mentality now. You can actually be having three meals a day, but still in poverty. And the poverty is in the way you think. Because you are looking around you and thinking, I don't want to be this poor.
I want to be poor again.
Yes. And now if you are guaranteed, somebody is coming and saying, we can guarantee you something that is better, a life that you'd never need to stress or have to worry about anything in heaven. And you can get to this heaven if you forego everything else that you have. Stop eating until you get to heaven. Basically, that's what they were sold. That's what they were sold. And this is what religion is doing. We have seen this even within the other side. I'm not just exclusively saying this is something that is a problem with Christianity. This is a problem with religion. Islam can also give people the same thing, that we saw of all these people that were being told to be suicide bombers, put on strap bombs and then blow everything up, and then when
you're doing it for God,
you're doing it for God, Allah. When you get there, you're going to get
37 virgins.
All that. We've seen this. This is what the religion is doing. It's not exclusive.
But how do we undo this, my brother? How do we undo this?
People need to find and get a knowledge of how to critique everything. Don't just accept everything as it's given. We need to be able to have critical minds. By critiquing something is looking at it and seeing whether it stands. Rather than just believe everything, you need to actually analyze everything that is given to you. Even in Christianity, there's a bit of that is taught. There's a group of people that were called the Bereans. They would hear a sermon, they would go home, and they'd digest on that and think, does it make sense? Does it balance with what is written? Not just you've just heard somebody.
But
say,
our people, anything they hear from Omoto, anything they hear from any preacher, from Suleiman, from Mackenzie, from Makandiwa, from anyone, from
no
Magaya,
difference.
they take it into practice. They
There's
believe
no
it.
difference. There's no difference between any of those guys. The only difference that is there now, presently, is that Mackenzie's shenanigans has been exposed. So you
It
might
was just
find,
unfortunate.
If we dig deep, we will find that Makandiwa has dead bodies. We will find that Suleiman has dead bodies.
Jeremiah has dead bodies.
Jeremiah has dead bodies.
Iginla
Has dead bodies.
Okafo
Has dead bodies.
TB Joshua
Has dead bodies.
Magaya,
Has dead bodies.
all of them they do.
All of them they do. But it's the scale in which they are doing it. This Mackenzie guy has done something that was just like right in our faces. We could not see it.
So he was just reckless enough to be caught.
Right there. It's just there. We cannot not see it. It's just there. It's too obvious. These bodies, the body count was too much.
So
But the other ones are doing it nice and
they're smooth.
smooth and
Their
slow.
operations
but
are
if
so
we actually look over the years, we can say there's this here that was not explained. There's this here that the police never even looked at. I can go back to this one Magaya guy from Zimbabwe. In Kwekwe, there was a stampede.
The son of TB Joshua.
12
Magaya is
people
the
that
spiritual
if we
son
look at-
closest to TB
If
Joshua.
we look at that and try and figure out where and what was the was any investigation done? What was the findings on that? How did he get cleared? Was he even
it
accused to
just
begin
disappeared.
with? It just vanished. There was a case of a missing child. You talk about
At Makandiwa.
At Makandiwa Church, there was one in Iran.
One kid, one little
One
kid,
little
a
kid.
toddler,
And the body was
who
then
died
found
right
in the tent.
outside. The boy actually disappeared
Yes.
for about 2-3 days. No one could find that boy, only to be found 3 days after outside the entrance
Decomposing.
of Makandiwa's church, decomposing. And that case was never looked into.
Yeah.
I think you know what we should do. Let's cut this episode at this point. On the next episode, let's look at, my people, the only way we can connect dots to make you understand is if we look back. Let's now start doing an audit of how many people have been dying, or how many cases of people that were just disappearing in these churches. And then you realize that we're on to something. You realize that it's not only Mackenzie that has dead bodies underground. And on that ground in which Mackenzie was caught with these, shallow graves, that's where he wanted to build his own church. Now let's think about the churches that they have been established already. How many bodies could be there? I know you can't fathom it or you can't begin to imagine it, but just think about it. Mackenzie was just a scapegoat. Mackenzie was just reckless to be caught. Your papas are too smart. You might not know what you do not know. But on the next episode, we are going to dig deeper and find out if there could be graves under the shrine that you go and kneel and worship for blessings.
Altars.
These altars.
altars. Go and touch the altar. This altar. That
Come
altar.
to the altar. Bring a seat to the altar.
They've been speaking about there's altars that are speaking against you.
That's why they tell people to go and build altars at their house, at their
But
homes.
they say that an altar is speaking against you. How do they know this if they are not part of it?
My people, that's what you have to think about right now. So till we meet you again on the next episode of the Enlightenment series, we are out.